A very good evening. Welcome to Newswatch this Wednesday, the 7th of June, 2023. My name is Melissa Odor. On the sign language is Elizabeth Wanjiku. Newswatch begins now. Kenya on Wednesday held the National Prayer Breakfast Service in Nairobi, an event that was attended by various political and religious leaders in a bid to pray for the nation, which is currently facing a myriad of challenges. The event, which was presided over by President William Ruto, marked his first prayer breakfast since he assumed office in September last year and was punctuated with calls for reconciliation among leaders and Kenyans at large. This year's prayers, which are on their 20th edition, stemmed from the theme, reconciliation with God and with man.
The National Prayer Breakfast will be one of the key events of Parliament, and our members will now not be having a check-off to underwrite this event. And more importantly, that the event will have a determinate day in our calendar. Every Thursday, last Thursday of May of every year, will be our National Prayer Breakfast.
When you leaders pray, it doesn't matter the differences that you may have, even politically, because when you pray, God answers and God brings you together. And so let's continue praying for our nation and let's continue reconciling the people of Kenya, because together we are stronger.
We desire reconciliation. This country belongs to us. We are commanded by our God that if you don't forgive one another, even the Father in heaven will not forgive you.
Still on the National Prayer Breakfast, President William Ruto has asked Kenyans to embrace the spirit of peace, reconciliation, and forgiveness. President Ruto said leaders should put aside the politics of the last general election and take a common stand in addressing challenges facing Kenyans. Speaking during this year's National Prayer Breakfast service, President Ruto said unity among leaders was key to prosperity of the country. Gloria Musimbi with more.
Speaking during this year's National Breakfast Prayer Service, President Ruto said leaders should put aside politics of the last general election and take a common stand in addressing challenges facing Kenyans.
There is no better time for us to pray as a nation than now. We have an opportunity to give thanks for the far we have come as a country amid global turmoil arising from pandemic, geopolitical crisis, economic shocks, as well as regional conflict, harrowing drought, a plague of locusts, and a closely contested election.
As the country participates in the finance bill debate, President Ruto prayed for leaders to open their eyes to make informed decisions.
As we participate in this important debate on the finance bill, let us ask God to open our eyes and enable us clearly see the real choices that we have to make. And I want to remind you the words of Daniel 11:32 that say, even in the context where we are, Daniel reminds us that, but those who know their God, they will be strong and they will do great exploits.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said there was a need for Kenyans to embrace reconciliation and forgiveness.
We want to plead and persuade all leaders also to reconcile with the truth and the reality. Because even as we reconcile with God and men, we also need to reconcile with the truth. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto is the President of the Republic of Kenya. Let everybody also, as we reconcile with God and with men, start by reconciling with the truth.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula echoed the sentiments and urged leaders to put aside their political differences and take the lead in reconciling Kenyans.
Reconciliation is not easy. It is extremely difficult. What or who do you meet in a journey to reconciliation? You have critics and you have friends along the way. Critics, concentrate on your flaws. Friends will be correctional. They'll help you focus on your potential. So, as Kenyans, we need to ask ourselves, how do we navigate between the critics and the friends on our journey to reconciliation?
And I want to encourage us to continue embracing reconciliation as the modus operandi of our public discourses in running our affairs. Indeed, reconciliation is now anchored in the 2010 Constitution under the principle and doctrine of alternative dispute resolution under Article 159.
On her part, nominated Senator Sabina Chege has urged Azimio legislatures to rethink her removal as Deputy Minority Whip in the spirit of reconciliation.
I pray to my colleagues in Parliament that they also reconcile with me, because the best thing I did was not to run away from them, but just think bigger picture about Kenya. And so, Mr. Speaker, as they plan to remove me as a Deputy Minority Whip, I hope that you'll also look at me with a better eye, and I also extend the same branch to my colleagues in Azimio, because there's nothing wrong I've done.
A number of political and religious leaders gathered at the Safari Park Hotel in Nairobi for the 20th Annual National Prayer Breakfast Meeting led by President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. This year's theme, dubbed Reconciliation, is meant to anchor the necessity of reconciliation at all levels in society. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Gloria Musimbi.
Thank you, Gloria, for that report. Now, schools will receive capitation funds by this Friday, June the 9th, 2023. Making the announcement, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu said there had been delays in the disbursement of the funds amounting to 28 billion shillings by the National Treasury. Now, while responding to questions from members of Parliament, CS Machogu said he has liaised with Treasury to release the funds since the issue is not only concerning him, but the entire country. This follows complaints by school heads that they are struggling to keep learners in school due to the high prices of commodities and delays in the release of capitation funds. Machogu further cautioned school heads against charging tuition fees, saying the charges are illegal.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to inform all the members of Parliament here that capitation funds, which are to the tune of 28 billion, the Ministry of National Treasury was supposed to have given us the funds before Friday last week, but there was a delay. And this morning, I've had an engagement with the Principal Secretary of National Treasury, because it's an issue that is not only concerning me, but the entire country. And I wish to report to the honorable members and the country as a whole that indeed he has confirmed that by tomorrow the funds will be in the ministry, and then thereafter we will be able to disperse the same to all our schools countrywide. And I hope that by Friday of this week, the undertaking I've been able now to get from the Treasury, because they have gotten their funds, is that our schools will be able to receive capitation funds. That is senior secondary schools, our junior secondary schools, plus our primary schools. We are sorry for the delay, but by the end of the week, the money should be in the accounts of those schools.
Moving on, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has inspected how the operation to stop crime is being carried out by police officers in collaboration with the armed forces in Turkana County. Kindiki has held a meeting with senior officers of the Turkana County Security and Intelligence Committee to assess the situation in the area. And as Dolly Murigi now reports, the reconstruction of schools destroyed by bandits in Turkana County has already commenced.
The government has already started the construction of schools that were destroyed by bandits in Turkana County. This follows February 13th declaration of the counties of Turkana, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, Laikipia and Samburu as disturbed and dangerous, prompting the deployment of security personnel from various agencies. Speaking in the affected areas in Turkana County, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said that KDF soldiers and NOS officers have already been deployed for the exercise.
Kutakuwa na kiwango sawa ya usalama katika sehemu zote za Kenya. Lazima ile usalama iko Nairobi. Vile vile ndio usalama ambayo itakuwa Lamu, Busia, Nyeri, Marsabit, Turkana, Kenya nzima lazima iwe na usawa wa maneno ya usalama.
The renovation follows an ongoing security operation in the county and in 5 other counties that are plagued by bandits in Turkana region, which Kindiki previously said had succeeded in eliminating the bandits. Kindiki first spoke about the construction on May 23rd during an update on the security situation in Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Turkana and West Pokot counties.
Pale sehemu ya Napeitom, kwa sababu ya shida maalum ambazo iko pale, ile kambi ya jeshi tutaijenga, na kwa niaba ya mwenzangu ambaye ni waziri wa ulinzi, nataka niseme ya kwamba jeshi letu la KDF vile vile litaanza kuweka ile kambi ya Napeitom ili kuweka usalama mahali pale.
Dolly Marigimbovi for Hope TV.
That report by Dolly from Turkana takes us to our first short break here on Hope TV. We will be back with more news items. Don't go too far.
Because women talk more and they are not very strong physically, when they want to hurt their husbands or their children or anybody, they use the tongue.
Families under God.
How can we continue to live carelessly in ease?
Join Reverend Dr. Judy Mbugua as she imparts families through prayer, evangelism, and social transformation with the Word of God.
You know, God is not asking you to manage. He's asking you to be available.
Amen.
And He will make you able and capable.
Families under God, only on Hope TV.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
Welcome back. Now, the Aga Khan Development Network has convened a review meeting for the closing of their multi-sectoral Eastern Africa COVID-19 response program. The program, that has been in operation for 30 months, was launched to strengthen responses to COVID-19 across Kenya, Mozambique, Tanzania, and Uganda. The 9,373,284 euros program, jointly funded by the European Union and the Aga Khan Foundation, was started in December 2020 with the objective of improving systemic gender-sensitive responses to overcome health, economic, and social vulnerabilities caused by the COVID-19 pandemic in East Africa and is set to come to a close this month.
We have moved and infected many more people than it did. That was the first pillar. The second pillar was to strengthen the health systems for, the COVID case management system. Many health facilities or systems had never been confronted with this kind of challenge. So there was need to strengthen the health delivery systems. And the third pillar was to support the communities to create resilience, because COVID affected everybody, and more so the very, very vulnerable communities.
I think when we talk about COVID, most people would not look at so much on the social aspect of it. And maybe we will really appreciate that the impact of our programming was around supporting or strengthening the existing health systems. As we understand the health systems as different components, from working closely with the staff, supporting the health facilities with infrastructure and equipment. But again, we were able to work to support them with equipment such as ventilators, and as well be able to work closely with them in ensuring the capacity, in ensuring that we are building the capacity of healthcare workers. And so that is what we were able to do. But just to discuss it in detail is that to date we've been able to support more than 25 government health facilities in all these different ways. But again, we were able to support them with ensuring that the healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, the lab technicians were equipped with the right knowledge and skills to be able to support the patients during the pandemic.
A section of Kashani residents have raised a concern over allegations that a company that is threatening to evict them from a 917-acre piece of land in Bamburi Sub-County, Mombasa County. The case, which was presented to the National Lands Commission, is said to involve residents of Kashani and a private developer called Thathini Development Company, who are under the Gema community, that is Gigikuyu, Embu and Meru Association. The Gadini, Maugunja and Kashani, which is also known as Gakama Land Committee Chairperson Gabriel Tela Mavuo, said that over 10,000 families occupy the land, which is being claimed by the private developer. He said that they are supposed to meet with the Thathini Development Company directors and have a dialogue, but that did not happen. Yesterday, a private developer was accused of trying to put up barriers at the Kashani area before holding the planned meeting, claiming that they had gone to court, won the case, and given the court orders.
Hapa tulipo Kashani ina ekari 917, 917 acres. Kwa kusema kweli hii kesi sasa tunavyoongea iko kwa Land National Commission na inaendelea huko mpaka juzi tukapa file number kwamba hawa wadhadhin tukutane nao kule kwa Gashoro Touch pale mahali alikuwa wazuri, ndio kesi iko pale imesimama katika hali ya land historical injustice, ndio mahali imefikia.
Naweka bari ya chuma ya kwamba magari ambayo ya watu wa hapa yasipite, pikipiki zisipite, bodaboda wasipite, ili ati mpaka watoe wanasema ni tax. Sasa twashindwa sisi wa Kenya ambao tunatoa tax. Hiyo tax inayotakikana kwa sisi walala hoi ni tax gani inayotakikana?
Na walipokuja wamekuja kwa njia ambayo haikuwa ya amani. Wameweza kuingia mahala hapa na wakaweza kuweka barrier. Sisi kama wakaaji wa maeneo haya hatukubali kabisa swala kama hili kwa sababu hatuwajui.
In Nairobi, court has granted the prosecution a last adjournment in Dennis Itumbi's fake Ruto assassination letter case. When the matter came before Magistrate Susan Shitubi today, the court was informed that the prosecution did not have the file with them. Itumbi, through his lawyer, opposed the application to adjourn the case, saying having no police file in court is not sufficient to warrant an adjournment. In the case, several CSs and MPs are expected to testify in his defense. Itumbi was placed on his defense early last year after the prosecution closed its case. The state, through Anderson Gikunda, called 8 witnesses to prove the charges against Itumbi and his co-accused blogger Samuel Gateri. According to the charge sheet, on or before the 20th of June 2019, the two published a letter dated May 30th, 2019, intending to cause anxiety to the general public. The matter will proceed on the 28th of July this year. And a trader has been charged with conspiring to steal over 5,000 bags of subsidized fertilizer worth 27.8 million shillings. Eric Kiari Nganga was charged before Milimani Law Court Senior Resident Magistrate Ben Mark Ehubi with conspiring to steal 5,000 bags of 50 kilos of subsidized fertilizer valued at 27,830,000 shillings. Nganga and 7 others also faced other charges of stealing 1,120 bags of subsidized fertilizer on transit from the Port of Mombasa to the National Cereals and Produce Board depot at Kamwosor Depot in Rift Valley, valued at over 9 million shillings. He denied 4 counts of fraud and theft filed against him by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. State Prosecutor Virginia Kariuki did not oppose the release of the suspect on bond, saying other suspects charged last week before Onyina were freed on a bond of 600,000 shillings with an alternative cash bail of 200,000 shillings. Ehubi directed the case to be mentioned on the 13th of June for pre-trial directions and also to be consolidated.
Stole 560 50 kg bags of premium urea subsidized fertilizer valued at 3,080,000 Kenya shillings, being the property of the Government of Kenya, which was in transit from Mombasa to the Nairobi Cereals and Produce Board Port Tenan Depot in motor vehicle registration number KCC 867N trailer ZE 6330 MEC Renault Prime Mover.
On the international scene, the Vatican has confirmed that Pope Francis has been admitted at the Gemelli Hospital in Rome for a second abdominal surgery in 2 years. Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni said in a statement that the Pope is expected to stay for several days to allow for a full recovery. The Holy See press office said the Pope will undergo a laparotomy and abdominal wall surgery under general anesthesia. The 86-year-old Pope, who underwent colon surgery in 2021, is suffering from a hernia, which the Vatican spokesman explained that is causing recurrent, painful and worsening symptoms. An 88-year-old Felicien Kabuga, a man accused of being a major financier of the 1994 Rwandan genocide, has been declared unfit to stand trial by a UN War Crimes Court in The Hague. The court ruled that Kabuga had severe dementia and was very unlikely to regain fitness in the future. Now, the judges proposed an alternative legal procedure that resembles a trial as closely as possible, but without the possibility of a conviction. This is the first time a court has given such a ruling in a decade-long campaign to bring Rwandan genocide suspects to justice. Kabuga was arrested in Paris in 2020 after evading capture for 26 years. Said to have been Rwanda's richest man at the time, he is alleged to have financed ethnic Hutu militia who slaughtered about 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. He denied the charges. The court had paused his trial in March to allow for his health to be assessed.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
Because women talk more and they are not very strong physically, when they want to hurt their husbands or their children or anybody, they use the tongue.
Families under God.
How can we continue to live carelessly in ease?
Join Reverend Dr. Judy Mbugua as she imparts families through prayer, evangelism, and social transformation with the Word of God.
You know, God is not asking you to manage. He's asking you to be available.
Amen.
And He will make you able and capable.
Families under God, only on Hope TV.
We're back with business. Now, Kenya is committed to hosting more automotive players to increase local production on vehicles. President William Ruto says the national automotive policy has created a conducive environment for firms to set up in Kenya, and more assemblers will now be able to set up and operate at full capacity so that Kenya supplies Africa with competitive units. The president said this will also create more jobs, enhance skills development, and reliable mobility. He was speaking when he launched the first ever electro-deposition paint plant at the Isuzu East Africa. The president maintained that it was time for Kenya to claim its rightful place among Africa's leading vehicle manufacturers. The 500 million shilling plant is expected to deepen the firm's manufacturing, improve local production, and make it globally competitive.
We will begin the journey to make it possible for our local manufacturers to supply vehicles to government. The only request I am making to you is that as we buy locally, as we buy new vehicles under the leasing program, you have to guarantee us that these are locally manufactured vehicles employing Kenyans. I was very happy to listen to Madam Kavashe that if we do a few things, we can double the vehicles being manufactured from 11,000 to 24,000 in 2 years. I will do what I have to do on my side. You have to promise me that you will deliver the 22,000 vehicles on your side.
And the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry presidential candidate Dr. Eric Ruto and his running mate Mustafa Ramadan have launched their manifesto dubbed Transforming the Chamber. The two said their manifesto focuses on transforming KNCCI to its lost glory as the trade support institution of choice for the business sector. The manifesto is anchored on 6 pillars, including advocacy, networking and collaboration, institutional strengthening, economic diplomacy, market linkages, and inclusivity, which the new leadership believes will provide the chamber with a booster to achieve its mandate and offer services to its membership. The KNCCI will hold elections tomorrow, June the 8th, with the current president, Richard Ngatia, also seeking to be re-elected.
What we are launching here today is a manifesto rooted in the belief that each and every one of you, from all backgrounds, from all the regions that you come from, deserves a seat at the table where decisions affecting your businesses are made. We have spoken to you so many times, about a chamber of equals. We have said we are proposing a chamber of equals to you. And we meant every word. We have said we will be doing things in a different manner. But we cannot claim to preach the gospel of change, yet continue to do things the same way that they have been done. And that is why, as we have been moving around, we have never before today launched our manifesto. The manifesto that we will be launching here today is your manifesto. It is not mine and Dr.'s, in as much as it is ours, but it is a reflection of all the input that you have given us as we have toured the counties during our campaign period. So our agenda is really your input. And as we launch our manifesto today, you should celebrate that this document is your document. Now, briefly, what do we want? Our agenda is really, really simple. Our agenda is to make 47 centers of excellence, just like Mombasa.
The best to all the candidates tomorrow. Now, Delphine Traore, Regional CEO of Alliance Africa, has been recognized as the CEO of the Year by the Africa CEO Forum, the largest private sector meeting on the continent. Traore was recognized in the presence of an assembly of almost 2,000 eminent personalities, including government members, high-level actors from the private and public sectors, as well as civil society from Africa and the world. While receiving the award, Traore said it was an appreciation for the teams at Alliance and their partner Sanlam, who have been working tirelessly for long hours this past year to bring to life an insurance company that will transform the financial landscape in Africa.
Because women talk more and they are not very strong physically, when they want to hurt their husbands or their children or anybody, they use the tongue.
Families under God.
How can we continue to live carelessly in ease?
Join Reverend Dr. Judy Mbugua as she imparts families through prayer, evangelism, and social transformation with the Word of God.
You know, God is not asking you to manage. He's asking you to be available. Amen. And He will make you able and capable.
Families under God, only on Hope TV.
Kama vile mashua baharini, mizani imekwisha wasili. Mara hii kila Alhamisi.
Msoleta kabisa, mpenzi mtazamaji, mpenzi msikilizaji wa Mizani.
Tungependa Wakenya waende kwenye nchi ambazo tuko na mikataba nao.
Kulikuwa na Raila Odinga, kukawa na Wajakoya pia. Mbona hongeunga mkono?
Tupe mauzani wa masuala ibuka na chupukayo toka kila pembe ya Kenya na ukanda huu wa Afrika. Yawe mambo au vijimambo, jiongea na kutaarifu na kuarifu zako fikra. Kila Alhamisi saa 1 machweo kwenye runinga ya Hope TV.
Ni tamu.
Tukutane Mizani.
To some sports now, the national rugby team Shujaa has been drawn into the Red Pool for the inaugural NYC 7th taking place at the Red Bull Arena in New York City, USA on Saturday, the 15th of July this year. They have been drawn against New Zealand, Australia and South Africa. The blue pool consists of Fiji, France, Ireland and the USA. Shujaa will begin the one-day event with a match against New Zealand before facing Australia and South Africa in their subsequent fixtures. The winners of each pool will compete in the final for the overall title. The second-placed teams will compete in the bronze medal match, while the third-placed teams will fight for the plate title, with the bowl final comprising of the fourth-placed teams in each pool.
Otieno's bringing all his boys together. They want to celebrate in unison at midfield. Smiles all around. There they are, 12 points to 7.
And 12-time Kenya Premier League champions FC Leopards have rung immediate changes in the players' leadership structure after the National Executive Committee NEC stripped off Eugene Mukangula and Peter Thiongo from their captaincy roles forthwith. The decision to strip the two from the leadership roles comes on the back of the team's recent turmoil, where a section of the players staged a go-slow that culminated in an embarrassing 2-1 loss to the Minnows Vihiga Bullets. Ingwe chairman Dan Shikanda has said the latest development will go a long way in solving internal issues. That is how we end Newswatch tonight on Hope TV. Join Teresia Njenga tomorrow, same time, for Newswatch Thursday and another episode of Candid Conversations. Be sure to catch her then. I have been your presenter today, Melissa Odwar. Elizabeth Wanjiru has been helping us on the sign language. Have a restful night.